All right. So this is where we stopped yesterday. Apply emotional intelligence to promote team performance. That is the last topic under that's the last topic under lesson 4, which is to keep the team on track. So we've talked a lot about leadership. We've said so much already about the concept of leadership. Leadership is not just, it's like leadership is not one thing. There's so much more that comes together for you to say, yes, this is quality leadership. You know, they tell you about confidence, communication, interpersonal skill. They mention quite a number of soft skills, you know, that makes you excel as a leader. One of the most critical of them, one of the most critical of them is what is called emotional intelligence. And when you say emotional intelligence, you are talking of two different things. When you say emotional intelligence, you are talking of two different things. You are talking of self-mastery and the mastery of how you deal with people. That is, self-mastery is internal. How you deal with people is external. When you yourself, the self-mastery is like the key. That's the most important one. Because you cannot master outside if you don't master inside. In fact, lots of psychologists, philosophers of the world have, in the past, they've told you, they've mentioned it in multiple, you know, writings and books and journals that everything starts from inside. In fact, our outside is a reflection of our inside. Our outside is a reflection of our inside. Most of the time, all the time, the way we interpret outside is a function of what we have inside. And that is the reason why two different people will look at the same thing and come up with different conclusions. Because our perception of the world is always relative to our understanding of the world, to what we have in our head about the world. So they always tell you it starts from inside. So inside, you have understanding your inside, then regulating your inside. So your inside is divided into two. The first one is understanding your inside, self-awareness. Most of us, a lot of us lack significant skills in this area, in the area of self-awareness. We lack significant skill in the area of self-awareness. Significantly. Because we just wake up, we sleep, we wake up, we move, we go to work, we have children, we have wives, buy cars, leave house. You know, we just flow with the world. But not many of us have taken the time to look inwards and understand what makes me tick, what makes me angry. When I'm angry, what do I do? How am I feeling right now? How does excitement do to me? What irritates me? When I'm irritated, how do I display it? What calls me back from my anger? You know, all of these things. You know, you imagine being able to have a good understanding of what is within you, what motivates you, what demotivates you, what irritates you, what makes you burn, what makes you happy. How do you define happiness? What are your emotions? So that's self-awareness. There's so much to talk about in that area. Then self-regulation now says, okay, now I know what annoys me. Am I able to tone it down? Now I know how I define happiness. Am I able to shift my definition of happiness from what currently makes me happy to a new set of ideals that should make me happy. So self-regulation is about how much of control do I have over myself. You'll be shocked at the amount of, at the minimalness, at how little, embarrassingly little, the amount of control we have over ourselves. You'll be shocked. I saw a quote somewhere. They said 95% of, is it 90% of people don't think. 5% of people think they think. Oh God, let me see. How did that quote go? Has anybody also seen it? Let me see. I'm coming. Let me try to Google for it. 90% of people think, don't think. 5% think they think. Think they think. Okay, let me Google it. Let me see. Beautiful. I've seen it. Interesting. It's a quote by Thomas Edison. Wow, interesting. So the quote says that 5% of people think. Hello, are you there? Are you listening? Fine, let me look for the image and post in the group. 5% of people think. 10% of people think they think. And 85% of people would rather die than think. You can imagine. 5% of people think. 10% of people think they think. And 85% of people would rather die than think. This quote seems insulting. But the truth is, do you think? Most of us actually think we think, and we just don't think. You'll be shocked that about 90-something% of what we do is on auto-run. Mr. Kolawale, you should know the meaning of auto-run now.
I understand what you're saying, sir.
About 90% of what we do is on auto-run. Auto-run. Including how... You said what? Hello? Okay. So I said, a lot of what we do is on auto-run. Just, we hardly think. We are already conditioned to behave in a particular way, think in a particular way, reason in a particular way. And the moment you have done that base reasoning, every other reasoning on top of it just follows the base reasoning. Now you are not doing a secondary reasoning again. You understand? What makes us angry, what makes us annoyed, what makes us happy, a lot of these things are based on, they are based on some base templates. Then we hardly ever think to renew those templates. So it takes significant amount of self-awareness to be able to recognize these gaps. There was an image I shared. Oh God, can I find it? Let me look for it. There was an image I shared. Let me look for it. I'm coming. There was an image I shared. It's called cognitive bias. No, it's not possible. No. I'm coming. I'm looking for the image. I don't want to rush. Yes, I found it. I don't want to rush emotional intelligence. That's one key practical thing you can take out of this class. Practical. Mr. Kolawale, are you there? Mr. Abdul-Jalil, are you there?
With you, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Abdul-Jalil, are you also there?
Yes, I'm here with you.
This image not sharing. Beautiful. Yeah, check the group.
Yes.
Can you read through this thing? I want to strip you naked so that you know true that an average human being has very tiny self-awareness and self-regulation. A lot of times we just follow some formula in our life and we hardly think. Hardly. A lot of times you think you're the one taking decisions. Now lie. You're just following some programming in your to take those decisions. I want us to read through this thing. Yeah, Mr. Jelly, can you start from anchoring effects to false consensus effects? Quickly.
Okay. Anchoring bias.
Anchoring bias.
Sorry. Description. You rely heavily on the first piece of information you receive. Example. First seeing an expensive watch makes others seem cheaper.
Next.
Yes. Anchoring authority bias. You trust opinions from perceived authorities more. Believing a product is good because a celebrity endorses it. Availability heuristic. You judge things based on information readily available or easily recalled. Seeing a type of car as unreliable due to friends' issues with it. Under bandwagon effect, you tend to follow popular opinions or trends. Buying a certain phone because you see other people using it. Confirmation bias. You favor information that confirms your existing beliefs. Dismissing data that questions your favorite diet's effectiveness. Dunning-Kruger effect. You overestimate your ability when you know little about something. Thinking you are an expert after reading one article on the subject. Endowment effect. You value things more when you own them. Trying to sell your house above market value because it is yours. False consensus effect. You overestimate how much others agree with you. Assuming all your friends will like your preferred restaurant.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jelly. Mr. Kolawole, you might take it from Halo down.
Okay. Halo effect. You judge a person's character from an overall positive impression. Thinking a candidate will do a job well because they are attractive. Can you hear me, sir?
Please proceed. Thanks. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, illustrative correlation. You mistakenly believe two unrelated things are connected. Believing black cat causes bad luck. Negative bias.
Negativity.
Negativity bias. You focus more on negative events than positive ones.
Negative event sells news. How many positive things do you read in the news? Negative. Proceed, please. I like how you are. Proceed, please.
Dwelling on one's negative comment in a sea of compliments. Outcome bias. You judge the decision by its outcome, not the decision-making process. Calling a bad investment smart because it is unexpected paid off. Recency effect. You give more weight to the latest information or experience. Ordering the last items a server's mentioned at a restaurant. Self-servicing bias. You credit your success to yourself and blame your failures on others.
Mr. Kolawole, have you forgotten bá ṣe máa ń ṣe jam gbà ẹ́? Ẹni kí ló gbà ní jam? 246 mo gbà. Wọ́n fail mi tó gbà wáyé sí lọ́n fún mi. Kí ló gbà màsà mo gbà A. gba A1 but kí ló gba ní physics sí lọ fún mi ibi tó ti gba A1 ìwọ ló ibi tó ti gba C wọ́n fún ẹ. Please proceed.
So thinking that winning a game is skills, losing is the referee's fault. Spotlight effect. You think others notice your mistake or appearance more than they do. Assuming everyone saw your trips over a curve. Sunk cost fallacy. You stick with something not working due to what you have already put into it. Watching a bad movie to the end because you pay for the ticket.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I think I've been able to strip you naked for you to understand that we humans overestimate our intelligence.
Yes.
We overestimate that we think. The truth is we hardly think. Most of us just follow formula. Very few people do original thinking. Most of us just base our thinking based on some programming in our head. And original thinking is hard. It's hard. And that's the reason you say that how many percent of it? 85% of people would rather die than think. That's what I said this in talking now. 85% of people would rather die than think. Because thinking is hard. There are books and books. I've seen many books. Thinking models. Thinking models. All of these things you have just said that they're called cognitive bias in psychology. Cognitive bias. We humans overestimate our thinking. We overestimate our intelligence. We overestimate our intelligence. We really think we are intelligent. Yes, maybe some of us, yes, but even the best of us, we are at best. You know, the best of us will just mean that we've been able to overcome some rudimentary programming and been able to install a higher level of programming to guide the way we think. That's all. So, how did we get here? We got here from the concept of self-awareness, self-regulation. We all need to look inwards. Winning the inward is the greatest battle. It's a bigger battle than winning the outward. Because it's not easy to win the inward. Inward, you no go green. No matter how much you try, you no go green. Because even the body said is changing. Because as you are seeing more things, you know, don't let's go into philosophy. There's this quote that says everything you see and do affects everything you do. Everything affects you. So I wasn't in this class that I was mentioning some things that there are instances in which you do something or somebody tells you something and immediately you adopt it and you think that it's the person who told you that has made you to adopt it. Now lie. Most of the time, that information will have been in you. Maybe it has gotten to somebody mentioned something to you 20 years ago. That's adopting it entered 5% in your mind. So another person mentioned it to you 7 years ago. You move from 5% to 50%. But it's still down in your subconscious, so you didn't notice, so you didn't take note of it. The other person mentioned another thing to you, mentioned it to you again, then it entered 80%. Then maybe last week you were discussing with a friend, and that person now mentioned it again. You say, I think it makes sense. And then you now adopt it. And what that person simply did was to move it from 80% to 100% in your mind. And then you just went for it. So there's so much in our subconscious that we have understanding of. So much in our subconscious. So the more powerful you are as an individual or as a personality, is the more you are able to master what is inside of you. Even if you look at scriptures, they pay a lot of effort and energy and attention on the mastery of the inside over the mastery of the outside. Over the mastery of the outside. Because the outside is, anyway, let's go into. I'm trying to make us have like a mini master class on emotional intelligence. First of all, by making you understand that we are not as smart as we think we are. We are not as knowledgeable of ourselves as we think we are. So if you can now pay that attention to truly get smart, if you now pay that attention to truly have self-awareness, if you can now pay that attention, so now after you now have awareness, then you can now do self-regulation. Trust me. No be small thing. No be small thing. Anyway, let's proceed. Now, after understanding these principles, the next thing now is being able to master the inside. Now the outside. You have social skills showing how you deal with the outside on the outer parts. You have emotional intelligence showing how you deal with people from inside of you. Empathy is how you deal with others from inside. It's still how you deal with outside. Personal skills about everything is inside. Self-awareness, self-regulation, inside. Motivation is inside. But the personal skills now, how do you deal with other people? So how do you deal with other people from your interaction with them? And then how do you deal with other people from inside of yourself? From inside of yourself. And that's where empathy comes in. Empathy simply means you're being able to see others from as though you are in their shoes. Being able to see others as though you are in their shoes. That thing is hard though. Okay. Mr. Lako, are you with us? Okay, it's not. Mr. Abdul, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I just shared something in the group. Do you mind walking us through it briefly? Out of time.
So, there's a chat talking about regulation, recognition, self, and social awareness. So, self-awareness, emotional self-awareness, accurate self-assessment, and self-confidence. Social awareness talks about empathy, organizational awareness, and service orientation. Goes into relationship management, inspirational leadership, developing others, influence, change catalyst, conflict management, building bonds, teamwork and collaboration, manage self, self-control, transparency, adaptability, achievement drive, and initiative.
Thank you very much. Two things I mentioned earlier. I said you can look at these 4 areas from 2 different classification systems. The first one is what happens inside, and the other one is what happens outside. The other one is taking stock of yourself. Then the second one is how do you control yourself? What do you do to be able to do some level of regulation? If you look at this now, self-awareness, what I discussed earlier is self-awareness, self-management, which is self-regulation. That's still about self. Then the one about interpersonal skill is social awareness. Social awareness is also called social skills. And then relationship management, or you call it empathy. So all of those things call under it empathy, organizational awareness, service orientation. So then the other way of categorizing it is to say, okay, recognition, audits. When you say audit, you want to audit yourself. Then you can look at it from the angle of, okay, self-awareness and self-awareness. Self-awareness and social awareness. Audit, awareness. So self-awareness is understanding yourself. Social awareness is understanding how you deal with the outside world. But regulation is understanding, being able to manage yourself and then manage how you deal with the outside world. I don't know if you understand those two categories. You can see it from the image I shared. You can see the labels outside the squares. So self-awareness is self-recognition. Social awareness is social recognition. Self-management is self-regulation. Relationship management is social recognition. So these four areas they are the main things that would define your being a good leader or not. Those are the main things that will define your being a good leader or not. Because you cannot be a leader if you don't have these characteristics. The more you have, the better for you. Now, part of self-awareness is emotional awareness, knowing your feelings, perceiving connections between your feelings and your behavior. That's a very important one. When you behave in a certain way, try to calm down a bit and ask yourself, what led to this? What triggers me? What feeling led to this? Where did this come from? Is it from an irritation? What's the source of the irritation? Okay, when I see this thing, I get irritated. This thing triggers my irritation. It's part of awareness. Recognizing how emotions affect performance. We all have wives, I assume. There are certain words that the moment your partner utters those words, it changes your mood. You know, it's a level of awareness for you to understand that my mood is down. I don't understand what brings my mood down. You understand? It's important. So you need to recognize how emotions affect your performance. And then, of course, being conscious of your goals, being conscious of your values. Then accurate self-assessment. Now I told you, you cannot deceive yourself. Or you should not deceive yourself. You need to know yourself. We have not even gotten to regulation now. Just understanding yourself in your current form. How are you? What defines you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your blind spots? We all have blind spots. Every one of us. The best of us have thousands of blind spots. We all have blind spots. We all have consistent errors in judgment. Are you able to understand what those things are? So risky when liability around our neck, and we don't even know what those things are. You know, it's just like somebody was saying something recently that if humans knew themselves well, they would not be proud, they would not be arrogant. Because you realize that whatever you are doing now is not, it's almost, it's some level of hard work. But at the end of the day, it's more of some divine grace than your hard work. Because for every unit of hard work you have, there are like a billion units of things you don't control. For every unit of hard work. So it's going to be colossal disaster for you to actually think it's hard work that makes you get to where you are. There's so much of other coincidences that are not even obvious to you, that you just think that, okay, Oshano, she can do that tono. So you think she shall not can do tono. Hey, there are many other factors that have to, coincidentally go in a particular direction for that thing to work. Don't let me turn to the motivational speaker. Let's move on, please. Know your emotional triggers. Expressing potentially unpopular opinions as a result of your self-confidence. Taking risk. Displaying poise, self-assurance. Having knowledge of self-esteem, proficiencies. Being decisive. All of these things are part of self-awareness. Now, let's talk of self-regulation. Self-regulation now is okay. Now, you know your level and you want to pick a particular level and ensure you live up to it. Regulation means that you either want to force yourself to keep up at your particular level or you want to move up to another level. So you don't want, now you are aware, then you want to enhance your awareness Okay, maybe some weaknesses you have. You want to self-regulate yourself to a particular higher level. Part of it is self-control, remaining cool under pressure, staying focused in a stressful environment, controlling rash, destructive emotions. It happens now, especially after you have been under a lot of stress. It happens to me sometimes. I just want to down, fling the laptop, I shout at the top of my mind. I just shout at the top of my my voice. And sometimes you just feel like just shout. I say, bros, calm down now. It's do you. It's do you now. Relax. So like my personal now, in my own case now, I've developed some things that it works for me sometimes. Sometimes I'm under prayer and I say, Ibrahim, calm down. Ibrahim, calm down. Ibrahim, calm down. And I just self-talk. Ibrahim, calm down. Ibrahim, calm down. Calm down. To be okay. To be okay. To be okay. Calm down. Just calm down. Just calm down. So that's just one way, my own approach to self regulation. What is your approach? What do you do? What do you use for yourself? The part of self-regulation is trustworthiness, acknowledging errors. The normal default human nature is to not acknowledge errors. So acknowledging errors, challenging others' immoral conduct, establishing confidence, their reputation of honesty, credibility. The normal thing is for us to lie. That's the default. So if you want to establish confidence, show honesty, then it takes a lot of self-regulation. Standing by principles. The normal thing for everybody is to flow with the tide. If you're in a place where they are doing X, do X with them. If you're in a place where they are doing Y, do Y with them. But for you to stand by principles, either they are doing X or they are doing Y, I'm a Z. Wherever I am, I'm Z. And then you stand by your principles and damn the consequences. Then behaving in a morally correct way, above suspicion. Then you have conscientiousness, having well-ordered, meticulous approach to work, being accountable for fulfilling goals, satisfying obligations, delivering on promises. Then you have adaptability, adapting to changing environments, interpreting events in a flexible way, handling numerous demands, and changing priorities. Innovation, producing fresh ideas, considering innovative answers to problems, embracing and looking for novel ideas. Why would you regard innovation as part of self-regulation? Because it's not normal for human beings to do original thinking. The normal thing is that we just want to pick the easy way out of everything. That's the normal human nature. So for you to now condition yourself to say, no, dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper. It's not the normal, it's not nature. That's not the natural way of doing things. These things are huge. I hope we all leave out some time to do more around all of these skills, because as a leader, I read about, I don't know if it's true, but I think I read, it was a viral post on WhatsApp. There's a particular doctor. Somebody came to the hospital with our daughter. A mother came to the hospital with her daughter. Our daughter was supposed to be operated on, and the doctor came, I think, about 30 minutes late. Hello, are you there, Mr. Bialik? Are you listening? Are you there?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Okay. So the doctor came about, I think, 30 minutes to 40 minutes late, and the doctor came in. As the doctor just came into the hospital, the mother started lashing the doctor, in your negligence, your corruption. You want my daughter to die. Why did you come late for the surgery? Why did you, lashing? Okay. The doctor was quiet, entered the surgery, the operation room, conducted the surgery, came out. When he came out, he said, "Madam, the surgery was successful. Your daughter, your son will recover. The nurses will take care of all of this. I have to leave now." And he started lashing the doctor again. What's wrong with you? Why are you going to hand me over to the nurses? You are inconsiderate. You are this. If anything happens to my daughter, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to. The doctor just stood there. I was silent. I was just looking. And then when he finished all this, he said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I have to leave now." And he left. And then all the nurses, the madam just looked back, just so that all the nurses were shedding tears. Then she knew that something is wrong. Why? What's wrong with all of you? Are you foolish? Why are you shedding tears? You know what the nurses told the madam, Mr. Abdeli?
I know the story, sir.
You said what?
I'm familiar with this with the story.
You're familiar with the story?
Yeah.
I
It's easy for me. Because I
hope.
think it was coming from the funeral of the son too.
Of his own son. You can imagine. Doctor was coming from the funeral of his own son. And he still left, he left that to come and operate your own daughter. And then return back to go and grieve. Now, look at that level of emotional intelligence. Look at that level of emotional intelligence. May God not test us with that too. But the truth is, we all pass through some forms of that kind of mental torture occasionally in our job roles. Maybe it might not be at this level, but we pass through some forms of mental torture. How well do we maintain our cool? How well do we maintain our cool? So that takes us to the concept of interpersonal skills. That doctor obviously has done so much of work on his personality in being able to be massively self-aware and massively self-regulated. Massively self-aware and massively self-regulated. Because the truth is, you only exude what you have inside. You cannot exude what you don't have inside. So that's why I mentioned earlier that there's so much more emphasis on mastering what is inside over outside. So when you talk about what comes outside, you talk of skills like active listening, communication styles assessment, emotional intelligence, influencing, motivation, nominal group technique, political awareness, transparency. These and many more are those skills that enhance interpersonal skills. So, motivation elements, commitment, making decisions based on the team's core principles, realizing benefits in comprehensive quests, sacrificing to fulfill company goals, searching for opportunities to achieve team's mission. This is about commitment. It's part of what you exude outside. Achievement drive, setting tough goals, taking chances, driving hard to get results, discovering how to upgrade capabilities, striving to minimize uncertainty, initiative, working above and beyond toward goals, inspiring others through extraordinary feats, cutting through rules to finish job, seizing opportunities, optimism, hoping to succeed instead of fearing failure, seeing reversals as events caused by controllable factors, working regardless of area. These things, they are huge topics on their own, no? But you spent almost 1 hour already on just a few slides. But I usually don't want to rush emotional intelligence because it's the secret sauce that stands people apart. Because there was this study that was conducted some time ago about one of the greatest, what exactly are those things that determine your success in life? They came up with a lot of skills, and they did a lot of interviews of different, they read the biographies of many top people in history and alive now. And they realized that the number one top skill, greatest top skill that anybody would have, that would significantly determine, give or take, determine the level of success you achieve in life. This is people skill. People skill. People skill. People skill. People skill. That's one of the greatest skill you can ever have in this life. How are you able to form, as in, how are you able to dream a dream and get people to follow you in achieving that dream? Are you able to connect to people? Put yourself in their shoes. That's just empathy. The ability to understand the feelings of another, to see from their point of view. The capacity to empathize is a powerful tool. Powerful. Hey, mega powerful tool. There's this book I have. That book, I cannot share it. It's called, hey, just of that book, How to Build a Cult-like Following. If you master what is in that book, hey, if you master what is in that book, hey, hey, you can become Hitler. And then you realize that time over and over again in history, the people who rise to the top, either for good or for bad, they exhibit similar set of skills. Similar set of skills. Audacious goals. Being able to gravitate people towards, they have audacious goals, being able to gravitate people towards their goals. And the best of them are usually very empathetic, because you realize that the people around them will love them so much. Look at the prophets. Look at the prophets. That's just an example in the scriptural line. Look at the business world. Look at generals, the best of generals. People take bullets for their generals. Not like Nigerian army that you say people are deserting army. This is what is lost in the Nigerian army. Or I assume that they have challenges with. And then you find out that the leaders of the army, they're putting in efforts. You find sometimes the chief of army staff is going to meet people at the front line. Why? Because you want to exhibit, you want to show them that I'm with you. I understand your pain. I understand what you feel. I might be far away in Abuja, but I am there thinking about you. I am there working for you, trying to clear the back. I'm in the back end, trying to power you up. That's why they're telling you here that the capacity to empathize is a powerful tool. Powerful tool. What do you think happens when somebody can tell somebody that, okay, I take this bomb, go and blow up yourself? Have you ever sat down to find out that, what kind of programming did they put in those people's minds for them to say, for a leader to say, yeah, you take this bomb, go and blow yourself, and then we take it and they go and blow themselves? What kind of programming do you think would have entered their mind? Look at the religions of this world today. Sometimes you read about the religions, and from your own point of view, you read about that religions and you be like, what? How did this creed have anybody following it? This is obviously nonsense. For example, you see somebody worshiping a stone, and you be like, you be like a carved stone. And like, they use their own hand to carve this thing. And then they will finish carving it, and then they will put it in their front, and then they will now prostrate to it. And then you'll be like, this thing makes no sense. You understand? But the people who gave them that programming in their mind, they have locked their mind such that no matter what you say, you won't be able to penetrate into that mind, because of a very strong connection between those people doing it and the continuous programming that they have received. Hey, I hope I'm not indoctrinating people in class. Let me stop. Hey, I hope I'm watching powerful now. But honestly, that's how it is. And that's why when you read some books that talk about core psychology, and in introduction, they always tell you, you want to read about the nature of humans, be careful, use it for good. Because we humans overestimate our intelligence, we overestimate our sharpness, we overestimate our thinking, we overestimate our being able to think. We are so weak, we are so porous. And then anybody anywhere, do you understand that? Do you know the principle of how pickpockets work? Mr. Abdul, I don't know. Have you ever watched any video on how pickpockets work?
Yes, I think how it works, I don't know, but what they do, I am able to see through distraction, and then over time they will have monitored some kind of pattern on the prey.
Hey, Oga, we overestimate our thinking. We have major flaws in us, major flaws in the way we do our things, in the way we reason, the way we do so many things. Major flaws that you just need a good guy to master those flaws. And then he starts to rise, either for good, either for good or for bad. If you go to more shows of magic, you just realize that these people they are playing on the intelligence, on the gaps in intelligence of humans. You know, well, let me stop. It pains me because I just realized that. See, anyway, let's move on. Empathy. The capacity to empathize is a powerful tool. It provides a foundation for understanding the motivation of other people. Empathy is looking inwards, understanding others, servicing others based on needs, observing emotional cues and listening carefully, displaying tact and appreciating others' points of view. Service orientation, happily providing proper help, understanding customers' point of view, seeking strategies to increase consumers' satisfaction, recognizing customers' needs. So empathy also involves looking outwards. Okay, now developing others, recognizing and rewarding achievements, providing helpful criticism, coaching and mentoring, leveraging diversity, appreciating various ideologies, crafting conditions where different types of groups can thrive, showing consideration for diverse groups, objecting to discrimination and bigotry, political awareness, understanding political truths and realities of companies, grasping influences that set opinions of clients, consumers, rivals, recognizing critical social systems, correctly interpreting power connections. Okay, social skills, elements, communication, building bond, collaboration, cooperation, social catalyst, conflict management, influence, leadership, team capabilities. Okay. Yeah, let somebody else do some reading. Mr. Kolawale, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Please read to us.
Okay. Social skills elements. Part 1 of 4. Communication. Managing tough problem directly. Effectively exchanging information. Cultivating clear communication. Achieving a mutual awareness. Building bonds. Building connection with colleagues. Establishing large casual networks. Keeping others informed. Seeking mutually rewarding relationships.
Yes, next, please.
Collaboration/cooperation. Fostering a collaborative environment. Cultivating options for cooperation. Balancing job duties and professional relationships. Working towards sharing strategies. Knowledge assets. Change catalyst. Challenging current situation to appeal for change. Advocating for change. Appreciating the importance of change. Exhibiting exchange anticipated of others.
Proceed, please.
Conflict management. Detecting clashes. Moving disputes into the open. Managing difficult individuals. Urging open discussions of issues. Engineering resolutions of both sides. Influence. Polishing presentations. Winning people over. Coordinating impressive events to sell an idea. Building solidarity and approval.
Yeah, last one.
Leadership. Stimulating interest for collective visions and goals. Modeling effective leadership. taking on leadership role regardless of official title, directing others' performance, team capability, building team character, attracting group members, displaying team characteristics, guiding team, and its good name.
Okay. Ha. Okay. So organizational theory is the study of how people, teams, and organizations behave. So these are a number of theories. Purpose of organizational theory: maximize efficiency and productivity, solve problems, motivate people, meet stakeholder needs. Common organizational theorists. There are 4 major ones. There's Maslow's hierarchy of need. This is what you're looking at the sidebar is Maslow's hierarchy of need. At the base level is physiological need. Physiological need for food, water, shelter. That's like the basic need of any human. There are some people that they're at that level of need. Then after that is safety. You want to get a job, a good job, kind of thing. Safety, good house. Then you have belonging. Maybe you want to belong to a society, organization, Then you have esteem. Esteem now is a higher level of belonging. Esteem, you want to particularly have maybe some what do you call it? Maybe you want to particularly have maybe some luxury products or something, or maybe then self-actualization is now the highest level, in which sometimes you have everything, but you have some specialization goals. For example, I use the example of His Excellency Atiku. Atiku has the money, he has the connection, he has the belonging, he has esteem, but he wants to be president of Nigeria. That's an example of self-actualization. When you have some things that you just want to achieve that is pushing you around. So this is an important thing that you could use to understand people, because sometimes if you don't know, the people who belong to these different areas have different motivations. Somebody at self-actualization level, for example, you can look at like an article now. I don't know his thoughts, but I would not. I'll look at what's his name? Look at Tinubu now, for example. I don't want to believe that the reason why he put so much effort into becoming president of Nigeria is because he wants money. I might be wrong, but I don't want to believe that is the reason. Mr. Kolawole, what do you?
For me too, I don't think so. With the level of wealth he has acquired, I think it's self-assured.
Understand? So now imagine somebody talking to like Tinubu and threatening him with money. You're like, what's wrong with this one? You understand? So part of your being able to lead effectively is understanding people and their level. Understanding people at their level. I remember there when I was working on Ijolaimi VI then, many years ago, 2009. Then when we closed for the day, because then I used to work into late in the night, GTB headquarters was on that road. Access Bank, GTB, Zain office, Ijolaimi, one of those streets opposite the Eco Hotel. You know VI very well. So
I know the pitch.
So when I'm closing in the night, sometimes I close like to 10, because I was also living in VI then. So I could just close then and just take, I think, was it 15 naira Marwa to, I live around that NTA side, NTA Bab side. That's where I lived around there. So I just, and then you now see some of all these Okada boys, all those Hausas, by the time we leave for the day, because it's an Hausa that was the gate man, there'll be like a small gate house that those Hausas will be selling biscuits, milk. I don't know if you know that structure very well. There's a gate man who lives there, but they now give him like a small gate house that he now serves as a mini shop where he can sell small things, tea, biscuits, Nescafe, some small chops that people would need around that area, cigarettes, things like that they sell around there. So once we leave, just realize that those Hausa, those small Fulani that with their bikes, they just come into the compound. They just come and sleep. And then the next morning, boom, they've gone again. That's a level. You understand? That's a level. So if you want to motivate somebody like that, who simply just wants to get daily money and then maybe save up to pay for the bike, he does not, he's not interested in PMP now. it's not like Mr. Kolawole that wants to start earning 10 million naira per month salary and he thinks PMP will help him get there. Those ones don't want to. You want to write PMP. You understand? So you as a manager, as a leader, it is when you understand them, then at the various levels, you now know what makes them tick. And then from that, you'll be able to know what makes them, how you can motivate them, how you can deal with them. Then you have some others, apart from Maslow, you have McGregor's theory X, theory Y. Then you have Herzberg, you have McLelland achievement theory. Okay, we're talking about active listening. There are three major things that has to do with active listening: following, attending, reflecting. When you say following, what that means is that you respond with non-verbal gestures or verbal response. Okay, I'm listening. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, wait, quickly, let me stop you there. What I want to ask you a question. It shows you are following, So allow the speaker a moment to collect their thoughts. Well, attending here now means that, okay, you lean slightly towards the speaker. You focus on the speaker at the high level. You maintain eye contact without staring. That shows, from the eyes, you can know if somebody is listening or not. And then you now have reflecting. Reflecting means that, okay, periodically you can stop him to say, okay, so if I understand what you're saying, it means blah, 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 blah. That means reflecting, to verify your understanding of the message. This is part of active listening. Active listening is very important, especially in this age of social media. You'll be communicating with some people and they're on WhatsApp. You are talking, they say they are listening, but they are on WhatsApp. I don't know if it happens to you. It could be very annoying. But we all do it. It could be very annoying, especially in the house. I've seen a lot of documentaries and images that will show, there was this image I saw recently, the whole family, they were at the dining table and everybody was on the phone. Everybody was on the phone. Unlike in those days when meal time is family time, people talk about their day and all of that. But everybody's on the phone. Everybody's on the phone. Everybody's on the phone. In fact, sometimes when you want to go and sleep at night, you lay on the bed with your partner, you're on the phone, your partner too is on the phone. So we are gradually losing connection. We are gradually losing active listening and connection with those around us. So it's a fundamental failure in our being able to connect to people and then lead. And that's also part of emotional intelligence. Active listening is part of what you need to have because it's part of social skill, emotional intelligence. So building emotional intelligence with key stakeholders. Number one point here is recognize your own emotions and behaviors sincerely. You will never be able to lead without if you cannot lead within. You will never be able to lead outside if you cannot lead inside. You will never be able to lead outside if you cannot lead inside. So that's what this is. I've mentioned it before, and that's what this is telling you again. So you need to work on yourself first. Leader, you have to work on yourself. Self-awareness, self-regulation. Self-awareness, self-regulation. Recognize your own behavior. Recognize your own emotions. So assess how your emotions, attitudes, actions, behaviors, how it controls you. All of us are like dumb terminals. We're just moving around, not really understanding what makes us tick, not really understanding what pushes us, not really understanding what makes us angry, not really understanding our levels of anger. What triggers you to the topmost level? What triggers you to the middle? What triggers you to the base? What makes you happy? What irritates you? Like myself, sometimes I just realize I'm getting irritated. And I might not be able to pinpoint what exactly is making me feel irritated. Sometimes you just have a mood swing and you might not be able to understand, okay, what exactly is making me have this mood swing? Well, it shows that you still have some gaps in your self-awareness. You know? So observe how your emotions affect those around you. Take note of physical non-verbal cues of others, such as smile or shrug. Interpret those cues against the context, situation, and your emotion. I was watching something recently about body language. Sincerely, we humans overestimate our thinking, sincerely. Our body language, non-verbal communication, is far more impactful than our verbal communication. Far more impactful than our verbal communication. The way you position your hands tells a lot about yourself to people looking at you. Many other things. So remain mindful of emotions of others. Mirror the behavior of others when suitable to become better connected. Practice controlling or changing your emotions to better suit the situation. At this point, we have come to the end of module 4. My people. Okay, Mr. Kolawole, can you just tell us one or two things about emotional intelligence and what you've been able to take out of it? Because I particularly took my time to explain this thing. Let me see, what did you get out of it?
Well, I was able to get some things, and I think emotional intelligence is very, 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 very important. Personally, myself, I was listening to you when you were making a reference to yourself that when you are going through some stress, you become yourself, calm down, calm down, calm down. It's actually one of the things I also do because once I'm stressed a little bit, my wife knows me. I'm just Paula, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, easy, 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 no verse. I'll be talking to myself, no verse, no verse, no verse. So, so far today, I've been able to understand how emotional intelligence varies in terms of self-awareness, understanding yourself, being able to regulate yourself, and understanding the feelings of others, which is the empathy. I've really been paying a lot of attention. So the the interpersonal skills that also involve in emotional intelligence, how to interact with people, the social skills that you need to understand the relationship on how to understand their feelings, their emotions, empathy, how you deal with others from inside, at least your ability to understand being the shoe of others. So these are the things that I've been able to understand today.